My name is James Donald. I'm the Executive Director of the Department of Basic Education's Ecubed program, which is for entrepreneurship, employability and education. The Ecubed program, the Department of Basic Education has been looking for since 2014 at ways to improve preparing young people for a changing world so that they leave school with the skills they need for either entrepreneurship, employability or further education. The way that the Ecubed program works within the Department of Basic Education is to try and not have additional work for teachers to do in an already challenging curriculum and with the disruption to learning because of the pandemic. So what happens is teachers from grade R all the way through to grade 12 have to do what are called school-based assessments. So those are projects in the third term. They're often projects. And so what the Ecubed program does is supports teachers to introduce project-based learning. So it's a way of engaging with learners that they get to pursue things that they're interested in. It's much more fun, much more purpose-driven, and very evidence-based. So children can start building the kinds of skills they'll need when they go into the real world when they finish. This for any school in the country is welcome to be involved, and I can share the number of how schools can sign up. But what happens is in life orientation, life skills and EMS, so in those particular subjects, but it is expanding to others. So to give you an example, there may be within life orientation an opportunity for learners to talk about issues that matter to them, say bullying. So that will be in their existing curriculum. So what happens there is the teachers get given support to be able to run a project where learners can decide for themselves how do they want to find out more about bullying in their school, how might they themselves without even necessarily meaning to have been responsible for bullying others, and what can they do to change things. So that's already something, as an example, bullying that's written in the curriculum, but within life orientation, the teachers are trained to do a project where the learners really take charge, where they're able to work in small teams, where they're able to iterate and try different things, and where they're able to start working on their own projects and things that they really care about. The Department of Basic Education has a lot of responsibility to look after the learners in South Africa. And I think, like all of us, during the impact of COVID-19, had to try new things and learn and engage differently. So one of the most game-changing components there is called Teacher Connect. So it's a WhatsApp line that the DBE uses. The Ecubed team is part of DBE, so it's one of the things we're responsible for. But that line during COVID now has more than 160,000 teachers and people supporting teachers that use the number every day. It's pretty easy to remember. It's 060 060 3333. And if you WhatsApp the word hi to that line, teachers can get support, parents can get support, and you can find out more about this initiative. So I think that agile way of working is quite game-changing. And I think we often think of entrepreneurs or game changers as people in business or in technology, but people in government have just as an important a role to figure out new ways of doing things better, to serve our children. And I think the DBE's Ecubed program is one of a number of examples where our government is taking responsibility for changing things and preparing our learners better for the future. I think the biggest challenge for any teacher is time and demands. So teachers are often in environments where they have more than 40 learners in their classroom, where they have lots of different competing demands for their time. So the perception of having to do yet another new thing or yet another additional thing can be overwhelming for teachers. And when teachers realize that this initiative is not asking them to do anything new, but rather helping them achieve something they already have to do, which are these school-based assessments, but in a way that's fun and engaging for the learners. So it helps them improve classroom engagement, it helps them learn different ways to do classroom management. So I think that experience is really, really helping. For anybody who, you have a dinner conversation and people tend to get disheartened. We know that the world is changing. The demands on each of us in our workspace is different. And we're starting to say that South Africa should be doing more to prepare children for the future. And just to encourage people to realize that you can do things today already in order to make that difference. And that really preparing ourselves for the future is far more about being more human and less robotic. So learning how to handle relationships, learning how to manage yourself, And in fact, using things like project-based learning are a really fun and engaging way to bring a number of elements to the classroom. So we work with the Lego Foundation, for example, and we use learning through play in the younger grades because play is all about iteration and purpose and social engagement, which are the things we'll need in the workplace. So look us up on that number, 060 060 3333, and encourage teachers and parents that you work with to get involved.